Your rabbit is free roaming the living room. You are half watching from the sofa, and you suddenly realize it is nose deep in the pot of that money plant you have had for years. Most of the time nothing happens and you laugh it off. With a lot of the everyday things in an ordinary Singapore flat, the plants on the shelf, the food on the counter, the cleaning spray under the sink, are genuinely not safe for a rabbit, and the curious bunny does not know the difference. The good news is that almost all of it is preventable once you know what to look for. I'm a rabbit owner, not a vet. Everything here is the stuff I wish someone had laid out for me in plain language, the same worries people post about in the Singapore rabbit groups when they catch their bunny chewing something it should not. This is not medical advice and it is not meant to scare you. The goal is calm prevention. Once your home is set up sensibly, you can let your rabbit roam and relax instead of hovering over it all day. Here is what we are going to cover: the common houseplants in Singapore homes that are toxic to rabbits, the human foods that quietly do damage, why electrical cords are such a big deal, the cleaning products and mosquito stuff that catch people out, how to rabbit-proof a normal HDB flat without turning it into a bunker, and finally how to tell what is a real emergency. Take it as a checklist, not a horror story. Let us start with plants, because almost every flat has them and the popular ones are the problem. That trailing money plant, the pothos or devil's ivy, is one of the worst. It is full of tiny calcium oxalate crystals, and the rabbit that bites into it gets immediate mouth irritation, drooling and swelling. Peace lily and philodendron work the same way, and the peace lily can also affect the kidneys with repeated nibbling. Dieffenbachia, sometimes sold as dumb cane, can cause temporary numbness of the mouth and throat, which is frightening to watch even when it passes. Monstera, the snake plant, the ZZ plant, the rubber plant, all of these sit somewhere on the toxic scale too. The snake plant has saponins that bring on nausea and drooling, and the rubber plant's milky sap is an irritant. The cruel irony is that the ones marketed as unkillable and low maintenance, the ZZ and the snake plant, are exactly the ones people stand on the floor in a corner, which is precisely where a rabbit lives. I am not telling you to throw your plants away. I am telling you to get them out of reach. The simplest fix is height. Put these plants up on shelves, on tall stands, hung from the ceiling, anywhere a rabbit on the floor cannot get to them. The trick with the trailing ones is that the leaves dangle, so a pot on a high shelf with vines hanging down to bunny level is not actually safe. Tuck the trailing bits up and check the whole plant from rabbit height. If a plant is highly toxic and you cannot reliably keep it away, the honest move is to take it out of any room the rabbit uses. While we are here, a quick word on what your rabbit should be eating instead. Because plants are not the enemy, the wrong plants are. The bulk of the diet is unlimited grass hay with a measured amount of pellets and a handful of safe leafy greens. If you want a rabbit that ignores your houseplants, the best defense is a bunny that is full of hay and has its own greens to graze. Boredom and an empty tummy are what send them exploring the pot in the corner. It also helps to give them plenty to chew that is actually meant for chewing. Untreated wood toys, willow sticks, a cardboard box, so the urge to gnaw has somewhere to go that is not your devil's ivy. A rabbit with a job to do and a full hay rack is a much calmer roommate. Now to the kitchen, because human food is the next big trap. People mean well, they want to share a snack, and some of these are genuinely dangerous. Chocolate is toxic to rabbits. The theobromine and caffeine in it can cause a racing heart, tremors, and worse. Avocado contains persin, which is bad news for a rabbit's heart and breathing and can cause fluid to build up around the heart. Onion, garlic, and shallot damage red blood cells, and the harm builds up over repeated little exposures, so even scraps matter, and there is no truly safe small amount. Raw beans and lentils, the red beans and kidney beans many of us keep, contain compounds that are toxic to them in their raw form. Bread, crackers, and other processed grains upset the gut badly and can tip a rabbit into gut stasis, which is its own emergency. Dairy is a problem because rabbits cannot handle lactose, and the diarrhea it causes dehydrates them fast. And coffee, tea, energy drinks, and anything alcoholic, including cooking sauces and things like tiramisu, are all off the table because rabbits are extremely sensitive to both caffeine and alcohol. The practical version of all that is simple. The floor and the coffee table are where accidents happen, so do not leave human food sitting at rabbit level, and clear up dropped crumbs and scraps before the bunny finds them. If you are eating on the sofa with the rabbit roaming, just be aware of what could fall and where it lands. You do not need to panic about every crumb. You just need to stop treating the rabbit like a little dustbin that will sort itself out, and to make sure visitors and kids know not to slip it a bite of whatever they are eating. Next, the one that catches almost every new owner, electrical cords. Rabbits chew, it is wired into them, and the cord at floor level is irresistible. The obvious danger is a shock or a burn, but there is more to it. Chewing through the coating exposes the copper inside, and copper in any quantity is toxic if they keep gnawing. So cords are a double hazard, electrical and chemical. This is the single most important thing to sort before you let a rabbit roam a room freely. Dealing with cords is not hard, it just takes one afternoon. Run cables through split tubing or cord protectors. Tuck them up behind furniture and out of reach, and bundle the loose ones so there is nothing dangling for a rabbit to grab. Walk the room at rabbit height. Literally get down low on the floor and look at what a set of teeth would find first. Charger cables left on the floor, the lamp lead behind the sofa, the router cluster behind the TV unit, those are your targets. And remember to redo this check whenever you rearrange furniture or add a new appliance, because a cord that was safely tucked last month can end up dangling at nose height after you move the sofa. Now the cleaning cupboard, which most people never think about. The problem is not just drinking the bottle, it is residue. Diluted bleach on the floor, at the strength most of us actually mop with, still holds enough irritant to bother a rabbit's gut. And here is the part people miss. A bunny hopping across that tile half an hour later picks it up on its feet and then swallows it while grooming. So it is not about whether the rabbit licked the floor, it grooms the floor of its paws regardless. A few specifics worth knowing: phenol-based disinfectants, the Dettol type with that medicinal smell, are acutely toxic to rabbits even at low levels, so they are not a rabbit-safe choice. Furniture polish, like the spray you use on the coffee table, leaves a residue, and rabbits chew wooden table legs, so they end up eating it. The safer routine is plain water mopping or a pet-safe enzymatic cleaner, and crucially, keep the rabbit out of any freshly cleaned area for a couple of hours until it is properly dry. Then there is the very Singapore set of hazards, the mosquito products. Elite mosquito coil throws out a startling amount of fine smoke and particulate. And the rabbit's breathing is delicate, so the simple rule is do not burn coils anywhere in the flat with a rabbit. The plug-in and spray insecticides, the Bagan and Shield Tox and Hit Itty type sprays, settle on every surface the rabbit then walks on. So if you must use them, do it with the rabbit safely elsewhere and wait several hours before letting it back into that area. Gel and baits like the little combat traps contain things that are toxic if eaten, so those go inside cupboards or behind sealed panels where a bunny cannot reach. The big one for HDB and condo living is dengue fogging. When NEA fogs the corridor or void deck, that permethrin mist drifts, and on lower floors it comes straight in through open windows. So when you know fogging is happening, close all the windows and doors facing the corridor before it starts, move the rabbit into an interior room with the door shut, and do not open up again for at least 2 to 3 hours after the fogging is confirmed done. It is one of those things you only have to remember a few times a year, but it matters when it happens. Bender is the One more quiet hazard, the hardware itself. Cheap wire cages and galvanized mesh can shed coatings that are not good for a chewing animal that licks and gnaws on its own enclosure bars. So if you are buying a pen or a cage, look for powder-coated or stainless steel hardware rather than the cheapest galvanized wire you can find. It is a small thing to check at the point of purchase that saves you a hidden, slow exposure later, and it is the kind of detail nobody warns you about in the shop. Prevention is most of the battle, but you also need to know the signs, because catching it early changes everything. The first thing you often see with something irritating the mouth is drooling or a wet chin, then lethargy. A rabbit sitting hunched in a corner and not wanting to move. Watch the droppings too. Very soft or liquid output or the gut going quiet is a serious signal. Dark orange or red-brown urine, a head tilt or wobbly coordinations, and fast or labored breathing all belong on the worry list. Seizures are a late and frightening sign, which is exactly why you do not wait for them. Here is the part I want to be firm about. The same way I am with everything serious. If you think your rabbit has eaten or been exposed to something toxic, this is a get to the vet situation, not a manage it at home one. Do not try to make your rabbit vomit. Rabbits physically cannot vomit, and trying to force it causes real harm. Do not go looking for a home remedy or a dose of something from the internet. The right move is to stop the exposure, Take the rabbit away from whatever it is and call a rabbit savvy or emergency vet straight away. While you are doing that, a couple of things genuinely help your vet. If it is a plant or a product, take a quick photo of it or bring the actual leaf or the bottle so they know exactly what they are dealing with and how much. And do not leave anything out or downplay it because you feel embarrassed about how it happens. They have seen it all and the full honest picture helps them treat faster. It also helps to roughly note when it happens and how much you think was eaten, because timing changes what your vet can do. With this kind of poisoning, a delay of just a few hours can be the difference between a straightforward treatment and a critical one. So the instinct to wait and see at home is the one to override. By the time the scary signs like seizures show up, real internal damage has usually already been done, which is why early and calm beats late and panic every single time. This is also exactly why I keep telling owners to sort out their vet before they ever need one. Not every clinic in Singapore is confident with rabbits, and the worst possible time to be searching is at midnight with a drooling, hunched bunny in front of you. Find a rabbit-savvy clinic now, save the number in your phone, and know how you would get there after hours. You can find rabbit-savvy and emergency vets in the directory on our site, and I will point you there again in a second. So let us bring it together. Get the toxic houseplants up high or out of the rooms your rabbit uses. Keep human food off the floor and the coffee table. Sort your electrical cords before any free roaming. Switch to plain water or pet-safe cleaners and keep the bunny off freshly cleaned floors. Never burn coils indoors and shut the windows during fogging. Do those few things once and your flat goes from a minefield to a place where a rabbit can just be a rabbit. It really is mostly setup done once rather than vigilance forever. If you found this useful, come over to singaporerabbit.com. We put out a free weekly digest for Singapore rabbit owners, and you will find our directories there too, including the vet directory I mentioned, so you can line up a rabbit-savvy clinic before you ever need one. It is all free and it is all made for owners right here. And if you are enjoying these, the next video walks through building a proper safe diet for your rabbit, the hay, the greens, and the treats that are actually fine in our climate. So subscribe and I will see you in the next one.